In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, dear friends of Radiance of Islam. Adrien had it all. Success, ambition, a name that commanded respect. At 29, he was a rising star in tech and digital marketing, driven by discipline and a strict Christian upbringing. But life had other plans. A sudden heart attack landed him in the hospital. Stressed, exhausted, and forced to pause, he met her, Asia, a doctor whose quiet strength and kindness disarmed him. She wore her hijab with grace, spoke with wisdom, and carried a peace he couldn't ignore. "How are you so calm?" he once asked. "Because Allah is closer than my own breath," she replied. Those words haunted him. After leaving the hospital, Adrien felt an emptiness no achievement could fill. He began reading, researching, questioning, drawn not just to Islam, but to the certainty Asia carried in her faith. A year later, he took his shahada, not for her, but for himself. The moment he declared his faith, he finally felt free. When he told Asia, her eyes shimmered with tears. "May Allah keep you steadfast," she whispered. Months later, they met again. No longer doctor and patient, but two souls bound by something deeper than chance. Under a quiet sky, Harun, as he now called himself, confessed his struggles, his family's rejection, the loneliness of his new path. Asia listened, then smiled. "You were never alone." In her, he found more than love. He found a guide, a companion, a light. And for the first time, Harun understood. True success isn't in wealth or titles, but in the peace of a heart that's finally home. "I don't regret it," Harun said, "but I miss home. I miss my mother." Asia nodded. "You can still be a good son, maybe even better now. Faith shouldn't cut love off. It should deepen it." Her words hit hard. Harun had spent so long strengthening his bond with God that he'd forgotten. Faith wasn't just about looking up, it was about reaching out too. A new path. Harun rebuilt his business. No more shady deals, no compromises. He dropped interest-based contracts, walked away from unethical projects, and surrounded himself with people who valued honesty. Some laughed, investors left. But Harun stood firm. For the first time, his life had purpose. Meanwhile, his friendship with Asia grew. No games, no empty words, just respect, trust, and something deeper. But before they could move forward, one hurdle remained: her family. The test Aya's father was skeptical. "You converted, but are you truly committed?" Harun didn't pretend to be perfect. He came humbly, answered honestly, and showed his heart. No speeches, no acting, just raw sincerity. After a long, emotional talk, her father finally nodded. "I see the truth in your eyes, but remember, marriage isn't just love. It's my responsibility in this life and the next." A simple beginning. They married without extravagance, just prayers, tears, and gratitude. The woman he'd met as a doctor was now his partner for life. But the challenges didn't end. Money was tight. Family wounds were slow to heal. Yet step by step, his mother began to soften, especially when she saw the new Harun, kinder, wiser, at peace. One evening, she watched him lead Aya in prayer. When he finished, she whispered, "You look happy." Harun smiled. "I found home, Mom, right here, in surrender." The legacy years later, their home was full of laughter. Two kids, Ziad and Miriam, playing in the yard. Aya became a leader in community medicine. Harun built a business that helped others, not just profits. Together, they bridged gaps between faiths, between hearts. Harun never preached. He simply said, "I didn't leave my past out of hate. I found peace in Islam, and I still honor what made me." They visited his mother on holidays. Their kids shared cookies with neighbors. No walls, just kindness. Aya led by action, helping, teaching, giving. No lectures, just love in motion. The real victory, Harun's journey wasn't about changing sides. It was about coming home, to faith, to family, to a life that mattered. Not every step was easy. When Harun ran for chairman of the local business group, some people dug up his past. Old photos of him as a flashy entrepreneur surfaced, and whispers started, "He's a convert. Maybe it's all for show. Harun was hurt but stayed quiet. Allah knows my heart, he said. And that was enough. Unexpected allies stood by him. The non-Muslim community he'd once helped, and his wife, Asa, who never doubted him. In the end, he won, not by campaigns, but by who he was. One night, under the stars, Asa turned to him. I wanted to be just a doctor, but Allah wrote me a bigger story, to witness a man's incredible change. Harun squeezed her hand. And I chased money and fame, but Allah gave me something better. Faith, family, and love that lasts. The sky seemed to glow that night, as if heaven was smiling at two souls, once worlds apart, now walking the same path toward the light. Years later, they built a hospital, but not just any hospital. Noor Hospital. Light. Harun sold his old businesses, refusing shady investors. He wanted a place where the poor could heal with dignity. Asa trained doctors to treat not just bodies, but hearts. Healing isn't just a job, she told them. It's love in action. When Noor opened its doors, miracles followed. The rich and poor got the same care. Prayer rooms welcomed all faiths. A dying child saved his grandfather in tears. You didn't just fix him, you gave us life again. Harun worked behind the scenes. Asa stayed humble, still cleaning beds, still called Dr. Asa with respect. Noor became more than a hospital. It was proof that when faith and compassion lead, darkness doesn't stand a chance. A story of unstoppable love and courage. Harun and Asa faced endless challenges. Powerful figures in the medical business attacked them, angry that the hospital lowered prices. Lies were spread and political pressure came, but they refused to back down. Their answer? Hard work and integrity that no money could buy. One quiet night, after putting the kids to bed, they sat on their porch, looking at the hospital under the stars. Sometimes I still can't believe it, Asa whispered. We met in a hospital. Now we built one. Harun smiled. Maybe that's destiny, not where we met, but what we built together. A legacy of light years later, Noor Hospital became a training hub for young doctors nationwide. Asa spoke at global conferences, not just as a skilled doctor, but as a leader who inspired. When asked, what drove you to build this? Her answer was instant. Love. Love for people, for knowledge, and for God. On the hospital walls, Harun's words stood bold. Here we heal all wounds, even the unseen ones, because light isn't just for rooms, it's for the heart. A new calling, healing souls. With the hospital thriving, Harun felt a deeper pull to nourish souls, not just bodies. One morning, standing in an empty field, wind brushing his face, he envisioned Masjid al-Hadi, the guide, a mosque designed to be alive, not just a place to pray. Behind it, he built Yayasan Arama, a home for orphans. Kids there learned, ate well, and grew with kindness and purpose. Asa added health programs, while Harun held intimate talks at the mosque. He never preached like a scholar, just shared raw stories about struggle, change, and finding meaning. One night, a boy named Fiqi asked, Uncle, is it true you couldn't read the Quran before? Harun laughed. Yes, but God gives second chances. Fiqi grinned. I want one too. You're still on your first chance, Fiqi, Harun said, ruffling his hair. Make it count. The ripple effect. The mosque and foundation grew fast. Scholarships for bright, needy kids. Quran classes, counseling, disaster aid. No plaques with Harun's name. Let only God know who built this. Asa kept him grounded. We're not superheroes. Stay humble. Guard your heart. And Harun knew. She was his compass. The greatest reward years later, Fiqi, the orphan who once asked about second chances, graduated top of his class and won a scholarship abroad. In his farewell letter, he wrote, You showed me light exists, and now I'll carry it forward. I don't know how to thank you, but if I could dream, I'd want to be like Uncle Harun. Not because of the hospital or the foundation, but because you proved people can change, and then change the world. By then, Masjid al-Hadi had become more than a building. It pulsed with life. Not just a place to bow in prayer, but a place to rise. As the sun dipped behind the mosque's dome, Harun and Asa sat in their garden, watching the foundation's children laugh and chase each other across the grass. "Look at them," Harun whispered. "We won't live forever. But if they grow, if this light stays bright, then we've left something real behind." Asa squeezed his hand. "May Allah accept it all." The sky darkened, but the light from the mosque and foundation never dimmed. Just like the love, faith, and legacy of Harun and Asa, now woven into every life they touched. The children, Ziad and Maryam. Harun and Asa raised two souls who mirrored their hearts. Ziad, fierce with his mother's mind and his father's grit, and Maryam, whose gentle hands taught orphans to read and whose voice led prayers at just 10 years old. One night, Ziad, barely 12, said, "Dad, I want to be a doctor like Mom, but I also want to run the foundation. Kids like Ficky deserve more." Harun could only nod, swallowing tears. Maryam once asked Asa, "Mom, can we be like Khadijah and the Prophet? Helping people together?" Asa pulled her close, praying silently, "Allah, make them better than us. Keep them strong on your path." The legacy they raised their children with love, discipline, and endless questions. Screens were limited. Prayers were on time. Dinner meant talking, not phones. Every night they studied a hadith or a verse, not with fear, but with understanding. As teens, Ziad taught math and Quran to the foundation's kids. Maryam turned a corner of the yard into a storytelling haven, where art, calligraphy, and wisdom bloomed. One dawn, walking to the mosque, Ziad asked, "Dad, when you and Mom are gone, who takes care of all this?" Harun gazed at the sunrise-lit minaret. "If this place needs us to survive, we've failed. But if it lives in you, then we've won." Ziad bowed his head, vowing, "I'll carry it, Dad. Inshallah." The promise fulfilled years later. Ziad became a doctor, expanding the Arama Foundation. Maryam healed traumatized children with Islamic psychology. One evening after Maghrib, Harun looked at his family and said, "All I once chased, money, fame, means nothing. You are my greatest work." Asa smiled, lacing her fingers with his. "And you were the dua I never stopped making." From their small home, two humble hands built more than mosques and hospitals. They built generations. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time and support. Remember to share, like, and subscribe to show your support. I'll see you tomorrow back here on YouTube. Take care of yourself.